You are still here. You have survived everything that has come for you so far. But surviving is not the same as living, and somewhere in your chest you already know the difference. Welcome to the Stoic Compass. I am Epictetus, and today I am joined by Carl Jung and LAOZI. Today we are examining what is the difference between enduring and thriving. Let me be direct. Most people think enduring is a virtue. They wear it like a medal. I endured this. I survived that. But endurance without direction is just suffering with better posture. The question is not whether you can take the blow. The question is what you are doing while you take it. Are you moving towards something, or are you simply not collapsing? Those are not the same thing, and I am tired of watching people confuse the two.
Epictetus, I understand the impulse, but you are skipping a step. You are telling people to move towards something, as if they know what that something is. Most people who are merely enduring do not know what they want. They have been surviving for so long that the self which might have thrived has gone underground. It has retreated. And what you are calling poor posture is often a person carrying a wound they have never been allowed to name.
You are both circling the same assumption, that there is a clear line between enduring and thriving. What if the person who sits quietly in their difficulty without forcing a resolution is closer to thriving than the one who charges forward with a direction?
Sitting quietly is not thriving. Sitting quietly is sitting quietly. LAOZI. I respect your framework, but you cannot call stillness flourishing just because it looks peaceful from the outside. A man who has given up also sits quietly. What separates him from the sage? Intention, direction, the use of what is given to him.
That is a fair point, but I would push further. The man who has given up and the man who is genuinely at peace may look identical from the outside. The difference is interior, and it is not simply about intention in the way Epictetus means. It is about whether the person has met themselves honestly, whether they have faced what the psyche is asking of them. Thriving is not forward motion, thriving is integration. It is becoming more fully what you actually are, not what you have decided you should be.
Yes, though I would say it more simply. Enduring is fighting what is here. Thriving is being what is here. The fighter and the stone both survive the river, but only one of them is changed by it in the right way.
Fine, but changed how? Toward what? You say being what is here, and I say that is either profound or it is an excuse. The person who has been beaten down for 20 years and has simply accepted it, they are also being what is here. Are they thriving? I do not think you can avoid the question of agency. You cannot pull agency out of this conversation and still have a conversation worth having.
Agency, yes, but the kind of agency matters enormously. There is an agency that comes from the ego, from the part of the mind that wants to be in charge and has a plan and is going somewhere. And then there is a deeper agency, one that comes from listening to what the whole self, not just the managed surface, is actually calling for. Many people who believe they are thriving are running a program the ego wrote for them at age 14. They are achieving and achieving and achieving and still feel hollow, because they have never asked whether this direction is actually theirs.
That hollowness is the signal. When you are forcing, something in you knows. The effort that does not belong to you has a particular taste. You can feel it if you are willing to stop moving long enough.
And here is where I will push back on both of you. You are making this very interior, very inward, which is useful, I grant you. But there is a real danger in turning the whole question inward indefinitely. People use self-examination as a way to avoid the thing in front of them. At some point, you must act. You must take the materials of your life, what is given, what is not given, what you can change, what you cannot, and you must do something with them. That is not a shallow demand. That is the actual work.
I do not disagree that action is eventually required, but action taken from an unexamined place often reproduces the problem. I have seen this repeatedly. A person makes a decisive move, they leave a marriage, they change a career, they relocate their entire life, and 5 years later, the same pattern has reassembled itself around them. Because the interior work was not done, the wound followed them, the shadow followed them. They moved, but they did not change.
The pattern follows because they were trying to escape rather than understand. You cannot outrun what you are carrying, but you also cannot understand it by staring at it too hard. There is a kind of looking that sees, and a kind of looking that just creates more noise.
All right, so we agree that blind action fails. We agree that endless inward looking also fails. But someone is listening to this right now, and they are in the endurance phase. They are holding on. They are white-knuckling their way through something difficult. What do you say to that person?
I say, look at what this difficulty is asking of you, not asking you to do, asking you to become. Every sustained hardship is also an invitation. The psyche uses suffering to push us toward growth it cannot achieve through comfort. The question is not when does this end? The question is what is this making possible?
I would say less. I would say you do not have to know the destination right now. The destination is less important than the quality of attention you bring to where you are. Most people in endurance are planning their escape, but the person who can be fully present in the difficulty, not resigned to it, present to it, that person is already beginning to thrive.
That is closer to something I can work with. But I want to be precise about what presence means. It does not mean acceptance of everything. It does not mean you stop making judgments. It means you are clear right now about what is in your control and what is not. And then you act on what is in your control without wasting energy on what is not. That is not passivity. That is precision. That is the difference between a person who is thriving under difficulty and a person who is drowning with dignity.
Drowning with dignity, that is a sharp image. I think many people are doing exactly that. They have constructed a very noble narrative around their suffering. They have made it into an identity. And the identity has become more important than the actual question of whether something can change.
The noble narrative is the heaviest thing they carry. And they do not know they are carrying it because it feels like who they are.
So we are agreed on the failure mode at least. The person who mistakes endurance for identity. Who wears the hardship because they have forgotten that wearing it was a choice. But here is what I want to press. Is thriving always possible? Or are there genuine conditions, genuine external constraints, where the most a person can do is endure with integrity? And that is already the victory.
I think in extremity, yes. There are conditions so crushing that integration is not possible in the moment. Survival is the only goal. But I would argue that even in those conditions, the interior life does not stop. People who survive atrocity often describe a kind of inner retreat, a place they maintained even when everything external was taken. That inner maintenance, I would call that the seed of thriving, not thriving itself, but the condition from which it can grow when the conditions allow.
The seed does not argue about the winter. It holds what it is and waits without waiting. Not because it is passive, but because it knows what it is. The person who has found that place in themselves, even in extremity, is not merely enduring. They are in contact with something that cannot be taken.
Good. That is a distinction worth making. There is endurance that is pure suffering, white-knuckling toward nothing, and there is endurance that is anchored in something real. And the anchor is what makes the difference, not the circumstances, the anchor.
And the anchor has to be genuine. It cannot be a story you tell yourself. It has to be contact with something actually yours. Values, relationships, purpose, the felt sense of what matters. Not the performance of those things. The actual experience of them.
When it is genuine, you can feel it. It does not require constant maintenance. It does not need you to defend it. It simply holds.
And when it is not genuine, no amount of discipline will substitute for it. That is the thing. I used to think discipline could solve everything. And discipline is essential. It is not optional. But discipline pointed at the wrong anchor is just a very efficient way to arrive at the wrong place faster.
That may be the most important thing you have ever said in my presence, EPICTETUS.
Do not get used to it.
The fact that you can say it means something has shifted, even for you.
Then let us stop talking about the difference and say the thing itself. Enduring means you are still standing. Thriving means you are standing towards something. That is the whole distinction, and everything else we said is just the long way around it. Here is what this looks like in practice. You are in a hard stretch. Something is not working. A relationship, a job, a phase of life, whatever it is. And you are holding on. You have not collapsed. That is not nothing. Do not let anyone tell you that is nothing. But holding on is not the same as living, and you know it. The shift from enduring to thriving does not require the hard thing to end. It requires you to get clear about one thing. What are you holding on for? Not in some grand, abstract life purpose sense just right now. What matters to you? What is yours to protect, to build, to become? If you cannot answer that, the endurance has no direction, and directionless endurance will grind you down no matter how strong you are. You do not need perfect clarity. You need enough to take one step that is yours. One action today that is not just surviving but moving. Today, try this. Write down one thing you are enduring right now. Then write down one thing you are doing or could do today that is not about survival, but about what actually matters to you. It does not have to be large, it has to be real. That gap between those two things is where your life is. You have survived everything so far. Now the question changes. Survival was never the point, it was only the floor. What you build on it is the only thing that will matter when you look back. You do not need better circumstances to begin. You need a direction that is actually yours. Go find it. That is the work. If today's conversation has served you, take it further. Pay Attention by C. Tribute, 12 Lessons in the Practice of Seeing Clearly. Available now on Amazon.